Hello everyone and welcome back to more of the NYChampionships NA Qualifier action. After a bit of a break, we have finally returned into this new best of 3. It's going to be Cloud9 taking on Pain Gaming. I'm Cuddle Guy for Beyond the Summit. That guy right there is Gods. Welcome back.
I'm glad to be back. Cloud9 impressed in their first showing. I'm looking forward to see how they do against Pain, because Pain also, they kind of caused what a lot of people would consider an upset, at least based on the odds we saw in Dota 2 Lounge. So.
Yeah, they went against Fire in the last round and beat them down 2-0. Yep. And you may make the argument also they're dealing with a bit of ping on their side. So very impressive stuff. I remember when I did the bit of research coming into that series, I was even checking out the leaderboards, and I said this at that time, but you'd be very surprised. You can go check it out right now, the local Dota 2 leaderboards for US. There are Pain members riddled throughout that list. HFN, I believe, is a 7K plus player, and of course ADR is about 6.7 or so, I want to say.
Tavo as well was up there, the offlaner for the team.
Yeah, these guys know how to play a game of Dota, and they certainly showed it in the last round. This is going to be obviously their toughest test, and probably a bit of a test for Cloud9. They came off a breeze of a series going against Union Gaming. We saw what Union Gaming was about in their last series, unfortunately. But this should be a better test for Cloud9 to see where they might be able to rank in the new NA Dota scene.
Yeah, and draft well underway. Pain Gaming actually first picked Earthshaker. Most of the top Tier 1 choices, Bounty, Gyro, Lesh, at least those 3 were taken out. Lena's so far ignored. And the Earthshaker, a bit of a block pick as well. I think Pain really like it, but that was SVG both games on Earthshaker, and he had fantastic rotations. Won the mid lane like 2 games in a row for his team. So I think well deserving of kind of preventing SVG from getting the Earthshaker by picking it up yourself.
Yeah. Seems to be a well-versed support player, though, so I'm sure there's going to be something right behind that Earthshaker that he'll be able to be just as potent with. And speaking of respect bans and nods, Cloud9 removed the Broodmother. Obviously, the first flag being raised was that initial ban from Pain Gaming onto Darkseer. Just kind of gives that inkling like, we might consider a Brood later on, and we don't want to have to deal with him being picked up. But not going to be happening this go-around. Pain Gaming, though, have also shown that they're happy to dip into that hero pool. We could see a Wild Huskar even appear. We'll have to see. But Cloud9, the Tusk Dazzle opener, nothing too surprising there. You get your base and foundation. They don't really give away a whole lot as far as game plan goes. They're looking to take it longer, be a bit more assertive. Yep. It seemed all around just, I don't want to say simplistic, but just pretty standard from Cloud9 what we saw last time. They're not a team that's very raw and aggressive from what you see from a lot of CIS teams. They're not overly passive and overly disciplined. They just have that balance.
Yeah. They did have kind of very clear first choice heroes for a lot of their players. Ritsu was anti-mage both games, I believe.
Yes.
That's been banned out, so there's a respect ban there. I think Storm is probably Brax's best hero right now, so that's also been denied. So it feels like a lot of the players' best heroes have been banned out or taken by Pain, without Pain necessarily hurting their own draft doing so, because HFN can play a fantastic Storm. We saw that the other day. The Earthshaker is something that fits in any draft. So I like what Pain have done with the draft, denying C9 maybe some of their players' best heroes, their most comfortable heroes, while picking to their own strengths.
Cloud9's coach Lumnun did say that Ritsu's best hero, or what he feels his best hero, is Ember Spirit. And as you said, we saw 2 AM games last time from him. He played it wonderfully. Even spectators like Envy, who was casting the game, I went back and watched a bit of it, and he was even very, very impressed. Yeah, given they're just going against Union Gaming, but he was showing that he's happy to think outside the box. He had very unique farming patterns. He was happy to be very ballsy, cut the creep wave, farm there. So either it's just a ballsy attempt to find that little bit of extra delicious farm, or he just has the know-how and the game sense to know and recognize when it's a good time to farm and where without getting punished. So I'm eager to see him play something else, and we'll see what it is. Lena, though, doesn't make it too far further. Will be snagged up here from Cloud9 as their third grab.
Yeah, almost certainly going towards the mid lane. At least a pretty good hero against the Storm Spirit. The laning stage is good. The mid game's good when you get the Yule Scepter, because you can't easily ball lightning out. But that's where the Earthshaker comes into play. If your Storm gets thrown up in the air by Yule Scepter, Earthshaker traditionally will be sitting behind the Storm Spirit, ready to kind of counter-initiate with a fissure, and that LSA will never come out.
Oh, that's a hero I haven't seen in quite a while. My goodness, that is a Wisp.
Do we go for the full IO Tiny, or do you think we head a different direction is now the next question?
This is something that I'm sure all the teams now go, wait, that's a hero.
Yeah.
That's it. That was a big deal in the past. We don't see much of this anymore.
There's all kinds of things you can do now with the IO. You can go for that kind of aggressive offlane like the IO Bristleback. You could pick up the Tiny and do like an IO Tiny mid, put Storm in the safe lane.
Yes.
Or you can just play IO backing up the Storm. Stack lots of camps for Storm. Storm pretty good at clearing neutral stacks. And that's something IO does amazingly well. You can cut down the trees near the middle lane on the Radiant side, stack both the big camp and the medium camp, and create a lot of farming opportunities for Storm. So a nice hero that pairs pretty nicely with a Storm, but there's obviously much better targets with the Tiny, the Chaos Knight, Sven, that you can go for the carry role.
I would love to see them get extra spicy and pick up something like an Ursa on the Pain Gaming side.
That'd be fun.
We'll have to see if that's going to be a potential option or not. But I'm sure Cloud9 are looking at this like, ooh, that's interesting. Wyvern, typically a new, fantastic support to go against the Wisp, and maybe even part of the reason we just don't see it as much anymore, because Winter's Curse just sets up the Wisp +1 every time, anytime. And it's just a wonderful grab, but a nice counter and a neglected ban or pick throughout the rest of this draft. The Naga Siren going to get grabbed here. Could shift the roles a bit, but having that Song of the Siren, very useful when you see the incoming trouble of a relocate.
Yeah, we'll have to see if this will be SVG's kind of support hero or a farming hero for Ritsu. We haven't seen enough from Cloud9 to really guess one way or the other. So we'll see what Pain Gaming get, and C9 kind of leave their options open for their 5th pick, since Naga is that versatile 4-position hero or the one role in the carry spot.
There's still plenty of flexibility out there for both these teams. You already talked about the one for Cloud9, whether Ritsu is really that intense kind of a farmer that people have been making him out to be, that he can take on that 1-position Naga. And then for Pain Gaming, there's your answer. It is indeed going to be the Tony Wisp combo. More than likely taking over that mid lane. That means Storm could just reside in the safe lane. Could even be happy taking a matchup one-on-one, even against the Tusk, let's say. And then that leaves you with your Earthshaker to do as he pleases, or be maybe the +1 to Storm Spirit, or whoever this offlaner could be. If Earthshaker himself is not the offlaner. This just shows that there's just lots of flexibility.
I like the idea if IO Tiny is going mid just to do the Earthshaker in the offlane. I feel like you want to have some kind of a stronger, more aggressive zoning support to go with the Storm Spirit. And that's where the Bane gets banned out. Cloud9 are kind of maybe expecting that kind of a lane setup. IO Tiny mid. Earthshaker not really a good solo safe lane support. He can throw a Fissure. If you've got like a Gyrocopter, you maybe get kills with a Fissure block, but Storm not quite as potent, and I think Earthshaker more suited to the offlane this game. Assuming they're just going to go... If IO Tiny goes safe lane, you could do roaming Earthshaker because Storm will be mid. But you don't need the Earthshaker roaming mid if it's a dual lane already.
Final ban from Cloud9 is the Bane here, so they anticipate Pain Gaming are looking for that final, more selfless kind of support to follow up. Anticipating Earthshaker will indeed be in that core position. We'll have to see. Potent options out there. Man, it's been a while since I've seen a Tiny Wisp as far as what could work very well to go along with it. Typically, I see Tiny Wisp as a good counter also that's still out there. Maybe a Witch Doctor. This, of course, is something Cloud9 could consider if they need that secondary support.
I like the idea of even getting something like an Ancient Apparition for Pain Gaming, because it gives you that global ganking potential. The AA Ice Blast combos well with the Storm Spirit initiation, goes well with the Relocate initiation. Like, someone like an Earthshaker can just go to a lane by himself. If he sees a hero, he fissures with the Ice Blast flying in, and then either Storm Balls or IO Tiny Relocate. There's such great kill potential with an AA combined with this Pain Gaming draft, so wouldn't mind seeing something like that. Then that works nicely as the safe lane support for the Storm. Earthshaker off lane, IO Tiny goes mid, and AA Storm can easily zone out a Tusk using the Chilling Touch bonus damage.
Oh, certainly. Great level 1 right off the bat because of that Chilling Touch. I agree with you on that. Pain wager that this Naga more than likely could still be a support, so they're going to be banning out the Slark here. A hero we don't see very often anymore, with the exception of Van picking it up for Sector V not long ago.
Ooh.
Okay, so it is indeed going to be a support Naga. That is a Spectre being grabbed up. 5th here for Cloud9.
So you see Spectre. I know Shadow Demon always comes to mind as one of those amazing heroes against Spectre, just because he can have that kind of quote-unquote solo kill potential in the hero with the Disruption and Soul Catcher. You get the Desolate back onto the Spectre using the illusions. You get the pure damage coming out, but we'll see if Pain Gaming, if that's something they consider. But I still think AA is a good pick, but I think they need to get a good range support to go with the Storm. I don't think having the Storm just straight up soloing the Tusk is the best idea. Tusk will just get a lot out of that lane if it's an Earthshaker Storm Spirit.
Something to help keep the Spectre back. Shadow Demon is very good at being able to zone and control the lane very nicely. Maybe even a Rubik. Rubik could get that Naga Song steal. Good options from Lena and Dazzle and company. The ball's in Pain Gaming's court when they round things out. And as I said before, they're not afraid to just pull something out a bit different if they feel like this is the time and the place. We don't care what patch it is. We're gonna make it work.
The other nice thing about the A is it does potentially counter the Grave if you hit the Ice Blast on a Grave target and
I speak for the trees.
Nope, okay. They're going to go Nature's Prophet though. Earthshaker looks to be a support here, so I think it's Tava who's going to be picking up the Nature's Prophet. We saw this in Game 2 against Fire, so.
And he played it really well. Bit of an unorthodox item progression, if I'm not mistaken. I think he went straight into the Midas, but then followed it up a bit differently.
He went for a lot of utility items. He had a Solar Crest, Vlad's by the end of the game, I want to say.
Yeah.
Or something like a Midas Solar Crest Vlad's build. It was kind of cool to see.
He just was kind of doing that thing we see from your techies and broods, just kind of being that gnat in the ear to their opponent on the side. Just you have to keep that Nature's Prophet in check. But he was not hard to get a hold of. Very slippery when he played the Nature's Prophet here. And you're certainly going to have lots of mobility on this team. Relocate power from your Wisp. We know how mobile Storm could be. And now you have a Nature's Prophet to stack on top of it. Do you think this is a lineup where they might even get aggressive sooner than later? Or is this we got to wait in the early game, farm it up, get to the relocate first, get Tiny some muscle power, and then we can go on our assault? Or
I don't actually think their laning stage is that aggressive. You've got a Prophet who just wants to get his early levels. Storm who definitely wants to farm and get levels. IO Tiny can be aggressive within their own lane. So if they're against Lena mid, which it looks like is quite likely, Brax has picked up Lena, that's a lane where they'll be aggressive. So like IO Tiny, like in the context of mid lane, will be aggressive. But I think big picture wise, Pain won't be rotating around that much. Maybe the Earthshaker tries to throw a Fissure mid to help get a kill for the IO Tiny, but it's not going to be like they're trying to face rush right into C9, find lots of kills, and they're going to prioritize more farming up on the Storm Spirit and farming some early items on Nature's Prophet, fighting around the time they get their kind of level 6 ultimates.
What do you got there, Tusk? Keep that in your pants. All right. Everyone's just getting right back into the game.
I just look over as you say, I'm like, what?
I don't know, he's got some hang-dang going on right there. Bit of a pause here for the side of Pain Gaming as we get it started. Reminder, folks, this is the NA Qualifier for the NYChampionships. Looking for one team to qualify at the end of this run. We'll take one of those 4 qualifier spots to go along with the 6 invited teams, making it 10 all day. They're going to be traveling out to Singapore to compete on LAN for a prize pool of $200,000, plus includes a percentage of the crowdfunding. So a lot of money up on the line here, and only one spot to one of these teams. And as we go on the further part of these rounds, we get to really see what these teams are made of. A lot of people anticipate Cloud9 and Digital Chaos to be the top 2, but as we were talking about before, Pain Gaming certainly surprised a lot of people with their 2-0 shutout of Team Fire, and we'll see how things go. Also, we have to try our best to make sure we can match up the aliases with their proper names. Sometimes it seems the Reborn client will adjust to their uniform name. Sometimes it just won't. So I'll see. Like Quir, I did ask. The teammate said that his nickname is July, so we could just call him July for the Wisp. We got C4T or Cat, and then we got YZ, which I believe is... Who is
YZ is HFN, I think.
HFN? Yeah, that makes sense. HFN playing that core position on the Tiny. We know ADR playing your Storm Spirit, which we did get confirmation. It is an A, not a 4. A lot of people out there assume it's a 40R, but it is an A.
Yeah.
You said
it's
what
a
was
4,
his name?
but his name is ADR.
It is indeed a 4, but it's Leet Talk, if you will, for A.
Yeah. His name is Adriano, I think. So
Adriano. Okay.
That's what his nickname comes from.
All right, fair enough. We look over to the side of Cloud9, who are already dropping out from this game by one here. Saw a bit of these hiccups in their last series, of course, you know, with the D word popping out and such. Got to get those hats. Got to get the upper hand with the hat betting. I think Cloud9 are coming in this like 80 to 20 favorites. So
wow, that's
we got to get that value bet on Pain.
Yeah, that's value bet on Pain, I'd say.
Well, as they depart and repart here, we can just briefly go over who's playing what. Brax, typically their mid lane players, got the very glorious-looking Lena. Senpai, a.k.a. T-Bin, a.k.a. 1437, their captain drafter, is going to be playing the Dazzle. Ritsu, who is their like young prodigy pub star farmer, he's going to be playing your Spectre. And then probably one of the players who is very unknown to most, SVG, who's playing your support Naga Siren. Almost considered like a Loomdun disciple. He's been tagging along with him for quite a while through a couple of teams, learning the ropes, and really starting to slowly make a name for himself. He's been definitely pretty stellar with a lot of his Earthshaker play in the last series, and this is a good test for him. Naga Siren, that new support flavor of the month, or I guess more of a bring back. So Naga support was like all the rage at what, TI3, I believe, for Alliance. EGM used to play him a lot. Yep. It's nice to see her back in action here. So
it's kind of done. TI2 was a carry, TI3 a support, TI4 came back as a carry a bit, TI5 was a support again. You know, the circle's complete. Next year he'll be back as a carry again. So
and then an offlaner.
Yeah,
1 year out of the blue. And as we get going, hopefully for real this time, back underway, Weebu King 95, a very appropriate name for this gentleman here. It's a Reef, MSS. This guy loves anime. Nothing else to say about it. Not very good at overthrow. I definitely beat him in overthrow. So here we go. We're going to go. And there's going to be no early aggression coming out here. Don't know how important it is. I'm sure there's a lot of value in making sure Brax is going to have a good head start in his matchup against the ADR Storm. On paper, Lina, typically a better matchup, but always again comes down to the player's skill. Or would you beg to differ?
I think slightly better for the Lina. I think it's going to come down more to the Earthshaker and Naga rotations. The Earthshaker especially. He's the natural ganker, but the Naga is going to be moving around the map, trying to kind of keep tabs on the Earthshaker and where he's positioned as much as possible. So SVG for now headed towards bottom lane. May look to be annoying and pesky in the off lane sense. If Earthshaker's not helping out there, this IO Tiny actually not the easiest matchup against a Tusk plus Naga.
Tusk showing off the similar traits like you see from your Clockwork. A good Ice Shard block works just the same way. He'll hold the creep wave here briefly, and that means they'll come right under the tower, and that means free XP for your off-lane setup here between both the Tusk and the Naga. Normally crippled a bit by the pull camp here, but as you can see, has been preemptively popped out, and looks like their sentry not going to be able to scout this one. Do they have a secondary sentry? No, they don't. So this is going to be a great laning setup here for Cloud9 on the bottom.
No pull camp is going to mean Naga can actually get a lot more done here because they can't just use the pull to deny experience and prevent the Tusk and Naga from getting much out of this lane. So unable to kind of keep a good creep equilibrium here in the safe lane. Where is that other Radiant Sentry Ward? I don't see it anywhere on the map.
I see a dire one right in the middle of the lane here up at the top, but it looks like it's mid lane. Right there. Right to the north of the mid laner there, ADR.
The Sentry, though.
The Sentry.
Sentries come in pairs, unlike Observer Wards.
You're right. I don't see anyone in the inventory. And did they place it by the fountain? I hope not. Yeah. Did they place it on the ground somewhere on accident?
It may have been dewarded by the dire Sentry.
Oh, that's
up top.
true, too.
It could have been like a Sentry on Sentry kind of thing going down.
Yeah. Very true.
But
yeah, Tavo here, a little bit of minor harassment from your Dazzle. He tries to pop back what he can. Nice thing for Nature's Prophet. Could always pull out those trees like he does there. Keep that support the hell back, and then he can focus on the CS at hand. So very nice for him. Keeps Ritsu in check. Ritsu, though, he's got his poor man shield. Plenty of regen, even a mango on hand. Don't see that very often on your Spectres, but maybe just in case you need that last quick dagger to get involved, or maybe later on needs it to pop a quick haunt to get involved or get away.
This is becoming the kind of popular build on the kind of safe lane agi carries, actually, to go for the Tangos plus Salve plus Mango. Gives you a lot of HP regen sustain, and the Mango's kind of like a kind of slightly less cost-effective clarity, but you get a lot out of it because you hold on to it for a while and you get the constant HP regen as well. Just the passive regen, kind of nice for the hero. And burst mana in some ways is better than having a clarity, which is slow mana regen, which your opponents scout at, and they're like, oh, they have mana now. But you see, you get a sudden burst of mana, you can often get a kill out of it.
Ooh, SVG trying to be a cheeky one there. Sweeped in, trying to get a hold of the courier, but it was not going to be caught. Runs around the long road here, and we'll head towards the bottom.
Speaking of bottom, Tusk forced to kind of snowball away from a potential initiate, but for now he should be okay. Tiny doesn't have the mana for a full combo. He doesn't have the 240 mana pool to use a combo, and until he gets like level 4, I want to say he won't have that mana pool.
July even has more XP than HFN right now. This Wisp is already level 3. Tiny finally just gets his, and probably due to the pull work here, but he's going to head back and try to get that back in check here for himself. And it looks like SVG will make his preemptive return back to the bottom lane possibly, or maybe not, and decides to walk back and away. We saw this a lot from him in their last series, just very mobile, making a stack here, making a poke over there in this lane, moving back around, just trying to keep the opponent guessing as far as where she is and just trying her best to stay off the radar.
And unlike Earthshaker, you do want to leech some experience here and there. You don't want to stay level 1 for too long. So SVG got some XP at bottom lane, has hit level 2 now. Actually gets mirror images up, so
He might go in for Tavo in the top lane if he can sweep in behind in time, but it looks like Tavo...
Worth noting what Naga's doing right now with these illusions. Stacking 3 camps at once, or at least attempting to. We'll see how successful. So far, it looks like she's already done it once. There's 3 stacks in all these camps.
1, 2, and 3. That's how you do it, people. Had to go full sky cam for this one, but let's see how he did it.
Missed
Pretty
one.
good. Missed one too early, but the other 2 did stack. That's huge, though.
Yep.
Very nicely done.
That's Brax getting a ton of farm in the mid game.
All right.
He's going to power farm. You know, even if Lina dies once to like an Earthshaker game, something Brax is like, well, I got stacks. I'm going to get a good timing on my Yules regardless.
There are some stacks being built up for the side of Pain here. Cat's been doing his job. Has what looks like 3 stacks on the smaller camp, and then another 2 stacks here, at least at the bottom. So there's a lot going as well for ADR when he decides to step back and charge those down. Curious to see if either team is going to be able to take advantage of that once they notice the mid laner does depart. But as it stands for now, everyone's just kind of doing their lane phase thing. HFN over 1k gold. We'll see if he decides to go straight for the power treads. Tiny typically, when paired with a Wisp, doesn't necessarily need to be going down the road of something like a Blink Dagger.
That's kind of the one, like, the deviation where do you go the Blink or not this game? And
yeah.
I'm curious to see whether Tiny does. I think more Tinys are starting to do it even when they've got the IO on their side, just because you've got such great kill potential with the Blink initiation, and it doesn't really slow down your farm that much. So I would lean towards it, especially when your opponents are going greedy. With a Spectre pick, you can get really aggressive. Spectre, especially if you're not going for something like a Vitality booster or something to boost up your HP pool, is very vulnerable to that Tiny combo.
Looks like stack work is going to start here. ADR makes moves at the bottom, which that leaves Cat with some solo XP there in the mid lane. And it's like a mirror match here. On the other side, Brax is working through his jungle. And
about to say, I'm watching Storm, and
oh, I look away and he goes down.
I mean, that's just, I don't know, it shouldn't really be happening.
Oh, no. Chalk it up to ping, I guess, for Pain. But Storm will go down. That's a bit of a big misplay there. So Brax is going to be in much better position at this point. He's continuing to work through his way in the jungle as SVG gets that solo farm. Very nice. Mild rotation
and
here.
He just stacked like stacked one of the camps again.
Oh,
he's getting a lot.
Lots of love in the economy department. Little Treon Protector, hoping to go there to deny the rune, but it's not going to be happening. Brax is already there with the haste.
Yeah, so Brax will go pure jungle, which gives SVG solo XP on mid lane for a little bit. At least for the next minute or so, it looks like Brax will be pure jungling. And you do want Naga to get a decent time on level 6. You kind of talked about how Song of the Siren's good against the IO relocate, and that's kind of a big part of where Naga needs levels, because this IO is already level 5, and will get a very good timing on that level 6 relocate.
Yep.
It's like Tiny going Midas, actually.
Oh,
so
you're
going
right.
for a very kind of farm-intensive build, which definitely suggests he won't be going for a Blink Dagger when you pick up this Midas.
Yeah, sometimes it's like if you got the gold and you can get that fast of a Blink Dagger, you can almost treat it like a Midas because you're certain to be able to quickly get some couple of burst kills. Oh, look at this. They're going to find him doing the stacks. They're going to make the move in. The Fissure's going to connect, and there's the Ball Lightning 4. Can they get the pullback? The Wrath of Nature even comes in and gets involved, but look at MSS. Does not snowball. Brax has said they're going to turn in and fight. They're not going to be able to burst down one. Now they look for Tavo. Puts himself into the Sprout here, but gets trapped up. Brax catches him at the front door of the trees, and they do manage to chop him on down. Turns into a 1-0 trade that goes for C9. They just put all hands on deck to help with that fight.
Bit unlucky for Pain, I want to say, with the haste rune being in Brax's bottle, so he just pops out and flies away. They didn't have any, even with the Fissure and the Storm mobility of Ball Lightning, they couldn't kill him because of the haste rune. Which was I guess an Invis would have also saved him, but yeah, ultimately the rune saves Brax, and that was the kill they were looking for, and also to be able to contest all the stacks that Naga had been doing.
Well, not all is lost though. Bottom lane, HFN and company were able to push down the tier 1. We'll get that extra bit of money and probably wait out for this 8-minute rune, it looks like here. Tavo makes his return. This time he'll be in the mid lane to try to add a little bit of extra pressure here. But Brax now level 8, just needs to get some mana, and, well, there's a bounty rune to help that out. But he's got Laguna online and ready to play, so I'm curious how long they want to wait before looking to put it to use here. Is that a smoke coming out by chance? No, but there's items that Theben is probably going to be picking up because he is empty right now. So I'm sure he'll grab that, including a couple of wards, and look to put that down.
Yeah, Brax close to the Yule Scepter now. Has Voidstone, Sage's Mask. Needs about maybe another 900 gold or so. And he seems just intent to just keep farming the jungle.
Even Ritsu getting involved with his own pulls just to make sure he can get this creep push right back in under the tower. Just as T-Bin returns, he'll be the one to take care of the jungle. Nice thing for Dazzle. Get that heal, you get nice and close, you get big damage, and you yourself will be able to even take down some of these jungle camps. Get some nice valuable solo XP. They're Cat Earthshaker now taking reign in the off lane. Just trying to also muscle together the levels. Both teams very passive early game here. Know that this mid game could turn into a real fireworks show.
Yep. Io's level 6, so relocate online. And I imagine they may look to go for kills. So Nature's Prophet props the ultimate. They see Brax. They've got a ward. They're going to maybe relocate him here.
They're thinking about it. He quickly tethered up.
He's got a bottle.
I'm looking at it from their point of view now. They'll see Brax head out from the woods.
Brax, I think, knows it's warded, because that Prophet ultimate that flew through did hit most of the camp as well as... I don't know if it hit Brax as well, but it basically reveals that there is Radiant Vision there.
Oh, yes.
It was a bit of a strange Prophet ultimate, because normally you want to save the Prophet ultimate for gank attempts, and, I mean, to farm up the enemy, the neutral stack is one thing, but if you have heroes there, so... I don't think he actually got the last hits on many of those neutrals.
That is an unfortunate... almost anti-synergy between Nature's Prophet and then the Wisp +1 is typically, you know, you get that level 6 and you have nice aggressive wards like this one down, so you can find opportunities to relocate in, but if you accidentally dish out a bad Nature's Prophet ultimate, it might reveal the game plan, and it did here. They planted down a sentry. It's a bit too low, but this one up here will get the catch. Demon will remove that ward, and that means they will not have that sweet, deep, aggressive vision to look for relocates.
Yeah, nice awareness from C9, but I think that was a bit of a mistake from Prophet throwing the ultimate there. So we'll see. It's not going to hurt Pain that much. It kind of maybe prevents them from finding a few future opportunities for kills, but they're still in a good position with how farmed Tiny is. Tiny top of the net worth chart by a pretty big margin with the help of some of that tower gold, and already we're seeing what this IO Tiny can do as they pressure the lane, and Tiny up to 1,400 gold now, treads Midas. We'll be looking at a very fast Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah. Time to just farm through these camps, make the return to the bottom lane once the push does come back, and proceed from there. For the side of C9, we got MSS now level 8. He's about pops on his Tusk. Arcane Boots ready to go. He's waiting around like they might consider getting something done. This time there is a smoke in the hands of T-Bin. Maybe push this mid lane out, step back, smoke, and hunt through the woods for a Tiny. Yeah, might be the play.
I think they want to smoke because they've got Lena's Yules. They'll wait for the Lena Yules to arrive. I'm pretty sure. I think going without... Yeah, they're running back to meet the courier. This is what they need to be able to kill the Storm Spirit if they find him. But yeah, ideal target is still potentially the Tiny.
We'll see if they can do it. And you got to make sure you get that Wisp involved in some way. If he puts himself into a good pocket position, it could be a quick eject button out of there for the Tiny with that relocate.
They're positioning very defensively. They haven't seen Lena in some time. They know this is around when Lena gets a Yules. You've got Cat in the mid lane protecting Storm, so Storm can farm the lane, but if Tiny farms the lane, he can't really survive if he gets comboed.
They changed their mind from bottom, and they're going to head towards mid instead as their smoke does expire here.
Shaker pops it, and he's in position to fissure if it's needed.
Oh.
All right.
Give me another pause. Yep. So they couldn't make the ambitious long stride to the bottom lane here, knowing that it's been missing for quite a while, and the preparation clearly shows. They see that from their point of view, lots of Cloud9 missing from the map, and as you said, appropriate time for the Yules and for Company to probably make that move, considering also Tusk is missing in action somewhere. So they make the safe bet to hide behind as SVG does push it forward. But if they continue to hang around this mid lane instead, I don't know if there's going to be any options here still for them. It looks like ADR is going to head for that 12-minute rune up at the top. And, you know, Cat is happy to just come down and just continue to wait in the dark.
And that's where that gank timing didn't quite work, because Storm was going to go for that top rune anyway. So they headed towards mid around the time where Storm was headed to the top rune regardless. So didn't find too much out of it, although they do swing back bottom, and this Radiant Ward was in the lane, so it doesn't actually see them here above the tower, although it seems that HFN and July have a pretty good idea of what's going on.
You also can see if there's help on route here with that back ward. They're going to make the jump on in, and now it looks like they're going to be going for the Wisp, and he is certainly dead.
Yeah.
Doesn't take a whole lot. Tiny, though, is like...
down time,
Yep. I went to farm. Sorry, buddy. He goes down. Cloud9 push their advanced kill lead 3-0 now, and will turn this into an objective push as they try to get some pressure on this tier 1. Early glyph is going to be popped, and ADR is going to try to split the pressure back in the mid lane. Brax is there. He's got an invis. He's going to pop the LSA. Quick toss, but it's not going to matter a whole lot. It looks like ADR will be going down. Tiny will have to step back as he's very low on mana. And now even top lane. Tavo in a bit of trouble here. Ritsu tries to chop him on down, but can't stop the TP. It's 2 kills across the board, plus some extra tower pressure coming in for Cloud9.
These runes for Brax have just been coming at the right time. A lot of it is that C9 have the rune control, but having the haste to survive in the jungle earlier, and invis there against the Storm Earthshaker, because he can't Yule's combo the Storm when Earthshaker's sitting behind him. If he goes for that play, he gets stunned up every single time and Storm escapes. So the invis was what secured that kill on the Storm. So picking up and controlling these runes is working in C9's favor, and Brax is making the most of it. But it's still a very farm Pain Gaming side. Tiny made the right decision just to rotate off the lane, give it up, and Pain are finding towers elsewhere on the map. You had Tavo pressure and take the tier 1 top tower earlier. They're pressuring this tier 1 mid, so you have to be wary that they are finding, like, they're up 4 kills unanswered. They're kind of taking towers, but Pain are getting just as much farm on the map. They're actually ahead on overall on the net worth graph, so this is by no means a C9 lead right now.
No, I certainly agree with that. Tavo has been adding just as much, if not more, pressure towards this top lane continuously when they try to get a little poke onto him.
And he's doing it by himself. With C9, it's like they're doing the same amount of pressure with 2 to 3 to 4 heroes. And always the threat of the Spectre Haunt as well. But Pain Gaming are just being more efficient as far as spreading their heroes around the map. And C9 kind of have a different strategy, which is where they are kind of grouped up, trying to take objectives, trying to kill the Storm and the Tiny more.
Bit of a downside when you compare the Spectre over with the Tiny is it just can't flash farm as well. Tiny can just muscle his way through the jungle very, very quickly. Spectre more single target involved. It takes a bit of chopping power before she can do much. But what is happening over here is smoke's going to be popped. They decided to divert, make some pressure on the creeps, and then maybe roll out.
Smoked in vision of the Tiny was maybe in vision of a Naga illusion when they smoked. Not entirely sure. And then he used an Avatos combo on an illusion while smoked. He didn't actually attack.
SVG's there, has a song, might need to pop it, can't get it off. The stun's going to be there, and the uppercut follow-up. He will go down. There will be no song to be sang. As he gets dropped, Pain will finally get themselves on the board as far as kills go, and they'll just take back to their jungle.
And Tiny, 400 from an Aghanim Scepter is very, very farmed.
Just don't get to see this as much anymore. He turns into quite the beast with that whopping Willow.
On the dire side, though, Spectre has not kept up, but this is like as fast as a Spectre physically can farm. This is like a dream free farm Spectre game. You're not going to be able to farm the jungle stacks like a Tiny can, but having all these core items, I like that Ritsu's gone for this tankier build, picking up the Aquila, the drums, the wand even, just because a Tiny combo and a relocating can just take him out quickly, and he also allows him to actually fight with his team. You get that Radiance. It's safer, and you get maybe a slightly slower Radiance if you go for these tankier items and just use Haunt aggressively to find kills with your team, rather than trying to rush a naked Relic / Radiance and then you end up just dying a bunch because you're so squishy. So this is kind of the much safer and secure way to play a Spectre.
Haste Rune pops up top at 16 minutes. Going to be snagged up there from the Wisp. Leaves that bounty still hanging out the bottom, along with MSS, who now has a Blink Dagger. He might have had that in the last little skirmish, but now has the Blink with 700 gold on top. It's been a quiet game for MSS, but that seems just to be how Cloud9 need to take this game so far. There's not really any opportunities for him to do Tusk things in this kind of a game, but the rest of his squad on the prowl here. Smoke up on the high ground here near the Ancient Camp. And trouble's coming around the corner here.
Oh.
Here comes HFN, but they scout out Tiny nicely on the low ground. Quickly annihilate him with the help of the Laguna from Brax. Toss is going to go out, and the sleep as a follow-up will allow for his quick escape. Even a grave as a bit of security. Will they let him get away? Cat going to try to get in the range for the fissure, but here comes ADR and the toss. SVG could be in trouble. Trying to make it away. Will make it out. Now comes MSS. Jump in, uppercut, takes down the Earthshaker. Nicely done. Good wherewithal to step back, space out, and now they're finding more opportunities to go onto Pain. And LSA follows up from the Yules, plus a Dragon Slave. Now HFN turns in and gets a big kill on MSS. Sprout stops Ritsu, but he's able to chop him down and go for a finishing blow. Can they get HFN? They can. The Sigil from the Grave coming out from MSS certainly helps, and now they're going to go for Theban. Back and forth we go. Now they want to hunt onto Ritsu. A follow-up Sprout, another chop. But here comes ADR once more. Diving on forward with the assistance from Wisp. Can they get a hold of him here? They got him down. 4 go down all day from the side of C9. Pain Gaming, they lose 2.
Wow. that's worth losing your Tiny there to get as much as they did. The kill on the Spectre, that was just a huge victory in the end for Pain Gaming. And it's not just about the Tiny for them. Getting Profit some items here, that's a completed Orchid Malevolence. That's a big item pickup for them. And it looked like it was going to go really badly for Pain. The Earthshaker missed his Echo Slam during the mirror image cast time on the Naga, which is what helped SVG survive. And from there, I'm like, oh god, this is a bad fight for Pain. But Io respawned, Storm came in, and it was just great execution. They kind of knew the limits of their lineup, and you can see Spectre just not quite ready to fight and get involved. He used the Haunt very kind of early on, and as a result, like, his Haunt was just for the Io kill when they used the Laguna combo. So Spectre was in the fight, and his Haunt didn't actually do anything apart from get some scouting information.
Yeah, it was a bit chaotic there, so it's hard to kind of grasp what was the turn of events there for Pain, but I imagine the return of the Wisp probably got in there, restored up ADR and his Storm Spirit back to full, and with that he made a long committed jump and was there to kind of be the janitor for the back end of that fight. So that definitely cleans the clock of Cloud9 a little bit and kind of puts them in a position where it's like, okay, these guys can play some Dota. We don't want to get too assertive here, and we got to make sure we can reformulate a new game plan before we try to take it to them like that. But Pain Gaming, almost feel like they can start being one step ahead. Agnum's done, and look at this. That is a Helm being grabbed up from the Tiny. Is he going Armlet? Is he going Helm of the Dominator? Okay.
We're going to find out. I don't know how much to speculate on this one.
That's beastly. Like, really?
You could go Armlet. If you've got the HP. You regen a lot of the HP you lose from the Wisp, so in theory, the item has a lot of practicalities with this hero, but Helm of the Dominator also really nice. There's some great creeps you can pick up to buff the Tiny with. You can either get the Ice Armor creep for some extra armor. You can get an Alpha Wolf, which boosts your damage a ton because you have such high base damage to begin with. Hasn't bought the Dominator right now, which does suggest
jump
possibly
in, uppercut. They want Tavo. They got him. They commit a blink-in uppercut with a follow-up Laguna, but they get it. That pesky Nature's Prophet.
No. That's a kill there. But the fact he hasn't bought the Dominator suggests it will be an Armlet pickup.
That's interesting. Typically for a lot of these beastly cores, you get the Armlet first and foremost, and then follow up with anything thereafter. A step off of the Armlet here. Normally that spot, you know, we expect it to be occupied by what? Like something like an AC?
Yeah, AC is often the next item. Sometimes you see like a Yasha or a Manta style pickup. I think it's AUI who swears by the Manta style on Tiny as over the AC at least. But yeah, we'll see something different, something funky. Right, for now, it's still just a Helm. He has an upgrade. He's got the money to complete the Armlet if he wants.
Just a hat. Hold it for now. Okay. See what happens. A bit of a regroup here from both sides. A lot of attention towards their mid lanes now. C9 turn the corner here. Even T-Bin not wanting to deal with that hefty burst combo at all. Built a pretty tanky Dazzle, even getting like a reliable bracer. Steps off for the belt first before fitting out the power treads.
And he'll be like not getting any points in Poison Touch. He'll be getting stats over that.
Oh yeah.
His main thing is staying alive, and it's against Storm Spirit. You just got a very high chance he'll be jumping on you. Eventually, Storm will get the Orchid to go with the Bloodstone, and that's where Dazzle becomes a prime target. Lina can self-heals, and Lina will be tanky because we'll be going for a Bloodstone build. So Dazzle's like the easy free kill to start a fight, and then you find your next target, and you know that Grave isn't in play. So Dazzle has to just tank up as much as possible. I like what Thebin's doing with this build here.
Smoke comes out now from the Pain side here in the top lane. No one immediately in the vicinity, but there is a Brax MSS combo farming through the woods in the C9 side. Trees are going to scout things out.
Relic picked up by Spectre, by the way, so Spectre is easily on point for farm as far as this Radiance timing goes.
But if she does head in here, things could get trouble. They're going to see her now. Cat could lean in with a Fissure here. They're actually going to commit the jump from ADR. Fissure wasn't there, but here comes trouble. Relocate pops in. There's the Fissure. Can they finish off Ritsu? Echo Slam. Snowball. Fly on in, and, well, they're trying to finish off MSS, it looks like now. You know, it's a bit of a disarray from both sides. ADR is going to make the jump, and the relocate, they're going to take Tiny back out packing. And that means that they're going to put their attention on the ADR. They get it. Yules and the follow-up Laguna combo is going to get it done. Oh, Pain Gaming tried to make a good jump, but it's them who ends up losing the one.
It was a great Fissure from Earthshaker. He caught the Tusk as Tusk blinked in, and it looked bad for C9 at that point. But then once the Snowball came out, Earthshaker whiffed another Echo Slam. Last time was to the mirror images, this time to a Snowball, and If ES has a Blink there, that goes fantastic. They get the Fissure off, preventing the Tusk counter initiation. Then they get a Blink Echo Slam on those two heroes, and they kill both Tusk and Spectre. But the Tusk helping his buddy out there. And I like what MSS has done. Going for this Glimmer Cape, this will just help out whoever's getting jumped in this fight. Because a lot of the instant damage coming out is Magic Burst damage from a Tiny combo, from a Storm, Earthshaker Fissure. So
you get it with an Orchid, you can still just glimmer yourself out from trouble. But yeah. Bit of a pause here as we go on forward. And now it feels like a bit more confidence coming out from C9. Brax moves right into the Pain side now, and will take a bit of farm from them. They have a nice aggro ward here, so he knows and can keep exactly in check where this Tiny is, which isn't too far off. And, I mean, everything looked good there. It looked like at the start of that skirmish in the C9 jungle, they obviously spotted Ritsu, but there was a lot of C9 members missing from the map, and obviously they had a tier 2 still in that mid lane to come to, but I don't know. Bit of missed target jumping from ADR. They could have let in with the Fissure first, but it just didn't seem to work out.
Yeah, they kind of went about it the right way. I think it was just like not showing enough respect towards the Tusk counter initiation. Everyone, if you're against like an Earthshaker, you're like, oh, if we go on this guy, there could be a Blink Echo or at least a Fissure to counter initiate. But Tusk can do a similar thing, at least as far as saving the hero there. You can blink in, snowball, and put a hero like Spectre in your snowball and buy some time for the rest of your team to arrive, which is exactly what happened for C9 in their turnaround. So
and our lag hiccup will subside a little bit, and we'll be back and underway here.
I don't think Pain are in a huge rush. I mean, late game by no means do they have the outright better draft, but they have got a good late game. IO Tiny, you've got Storm and Prophet with great global pickoff potential. So yes, Spectre's going to have a fantastic Radiance timing, but I don't feel like they're on a clock as far as they've got to end the game before 30 minutes or they're just going to lose to a Spectre. I think both teams have decent late game options, and Pain especially with the far superior mobile lineup, they can use that to their advantage and just kind of pull C9 around the map, force them to split up and find pickoffs through split push and just through the power of the IO Tiny.
So he is going to step away from our somewhat armlet build-up. Goes for that Hyperstone.
Makes a bit more sense.
Yeah. A bit of awkward build-up, but he's got the same thing nonetheless. Blocks out this mid lane, doing that block-a-dance. And we'll just quickly burst it down here. Pings fly out top lane. It's Tavo. Still doing your Nature's Prophet thing. Side pushing this top a bit. Playing life on the edge here. Doesn't want to get caught out. Risks a lane ward anywhere nearby. Was already punished once. But it looks like he's just going to play a lot more reserve here. Teven will be first on the scene with MSS behind, and I imagine there might be no jump. Maybe even trying to bait out Teven at this point, seeing if maybe the Nature's Prophet will jump. But Nature's Prophet going to head over to the tower area and just step behind.
Yeah, so no pick off there, and both teams going to fall back to farming for now. Bloodstone's been complete on both Storm and Lina at a pretty similar time, although Brax is a full item ahead with the Yule Scepter, so Storm still has a lot of kind of room to catch up here, and that's where those ganks they went for and failed really hurts the Storm and puts C9 in a decent position here, because overall gold graph pretty even between the two teams, but it's farm very heavily focused on the Tiny, and I feel like the Storm is actually a very key late game hero for them that they want to have a decent amount of farm on. Storm falling behind Lina and Spectre could become a problem for ADR.
And if you're a big Pain fan, and you're probably not seeing as many relocate ganks as you'd like to, and maybe after a jump like that, makes them second guess it. Now, do you wager when fights break out, obviously there's got to be attention towards the Wisp. Is it worthy enough attention where Brax should just dish out the Laguna and everything just to make sure they can take him out of the equation? Obviously, it should be difficult.
I don't think that's necessary.
A good Wisp would be a hiding spot.
Yeah. Spectre, though, will find you in a hiding spot. That's where
true.
Spectre is great against Wisp, because you pop the Haunt and you'll almost always find the IO. And this is a very squishy IO who I think Spectre can commit Haunt onto the IO, dagger, and just chase him down using your movement speed. And then Lina can save the Laguna combo for probably ideally the Storm Spirit. Tiny's just at this point where you kind of got to ignore him, at least initially at the fight. Unless you 100% can burst him down from the get-go, you just want to kind of ignore Tiny, kill the IO, kill the Storm Spirit, and then go from there.
Pain seem to be putting out the message that there could be a fight bottom. Frantic Bings to fly as ADR is first here to stop the pressure on this tier 2. There is indeed a lot of Cloud9 members hanging out nearby in the jungle. Brax will move in for the Yules and the LSA here. Dragon Slave Laguna, he gets the solo kill. Makes it look really easy. Even Ritsu committing the haunt, tries to go for Cat in the backside, and then will disengage. The tower will go down. Ritsu makes his return back to the top lane. But look what's happening in mid lane here. We got Pain Gaming putting on their own assault, trying to get the tier 2. They will get it. A relocate still ready here for Wisp if he wants to come at the bottom, which they might need to consider it. Brax has already got a DD, and he's just chunking down this tier 3. Yeah.
I don't think Tiny really wants to team fight until his Earthshaker and Storm are back, and they don't have buyback, so instead it looks like IO Tiny gonna try put some damage on the tier 3 mid. But
tier 3 bottom's down now, Godzin. They are working on this. Rax people, Pain Gaming, you gotta stop them. Dishes out the Orchid, but the Rax is gonna go down. He'll hit him up with a Sprout, but the TP should follow thereafter, and he's gone.
Yep. And IO mid is just relocated himself back into the middle of trouble.
And he's dead. Okay, Cloud9 come up big on that one. They take down a tier 2, a tier 3, 1 Rax, a melee Rax at that. Walk back and even get the free pick on a Wisp.
It all started with that Storm Spirit pickoff, which was not about who you blame there. It's more about the fact that Earthshaker and Storm, the Earthshaker was not in range of the Fissure to counter initiate on the Lina. Once Storm's thrown up in the air, you cannot let Lina get off the full combo. Earthshaker did not Fissure until after the Laguna was used. Like, it was an LSA, Dragon Slave Laguna, and then the Fissure came. Spectre was already haunting and finishing the Storm off. You've got to be close enough, or either the Storm needs to be further back or Earthshaker had to be further forward to prevent that combo from happening.
We'll see if Pain will be able to recover. That's back-to-back wins right there for Cloud9 after they were able to stop him on that first push into their woods, and now they get a lot in the bottom lane. We'll see what they can do to recover here. Cat still has quite a ways to go before he can dream of putting together that special little Blink Dagger here. We saw Tavo earlier farming through those Ancients. He's got that Medallion already on hand. Returns back to this top lane. 2,500 gold, though, on him. This Nature's Prophet, surprisingly a good amount of farm. He is 4th in net worth, even higher than the Storm.
Oh, he's close to getting caught out.
Woo! That was close.
Just on time. 4th on net worth, but it's as far as like he's pressured the top lane a lot. Hasn't actually taken the T2 tower though, so the actual impact he can have right now is it feels fairly minimal. He can't really team fight. He can try and maybe, and he's gone for an Orchid, which is kind of a fighting item, or at least a ganking item. So I feel like the way C9 are playing, they're not going to give him gank opportunities, and that means he's got to resort to maybe split pushing, which he hasn't itemized for. He can't really offer that much to his team in a split push sense right now. So I think C9 are in a pretty good spot to kind of deal with a Nature's Prophet right now.
Nature's Prophet aggressively doing the other Ancients because of that little bit of extra gold. Finishes that Solar Crest, picks it up right then and there. When I look back to the Tiny, we got our AC, and it looks like he turned it into a Helm of the Dominator.
Okay.
So you get that extra bit of leech, more armor, more damage, potential future Satanic.
Yep, well, picks up a Mithril Hammer, so it looks like probably before that goes for a BKB, which will just help against a lot of the Lina damage coming out, as well as just annoying things like the Spectre Radiance and Dispersion damage. So
the song.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I got a man mode now.
If you're like man fighting a Spectre, having a BKB is actually pretty important because a lot of that damage does come from Dispersion, as well as Desolate. That's all damage which does not.
Oh, they found ADR in the side trap with the help of the Haunt. Brax is right in there, and he gets the kill. Killing spree for him as he finishes off ADR with a big Laguna catch. They suspect that Storm Spirit was hiding somewhere, and with the power of that global.
And Ritsu's ultimate almost solo killed Io. He TP'd home on about 50 HP. Earthshaker lived on about 200 HP.
Oof.
It was... this Spectre ulti is a huge issue for these two squishy supports on Pain's side. And this game is very quickly slipping out of Pain's hands. They've got two heroes who just will do nothing in a fight because they'll die to a Spectre Haunt. You've got Prophet, who doesn't really fight just because of the nature of the hero and what it was picked for. And Storm is kind of starting to get countered entirely by the C9 draft. The Lina especially doing a great job of shutting him down.
Definitely have a lot more confidence in Cloud9 and what their late game has in store here. So you have to begin to question for Pain before it does get too out of control and these supports just start crumbling in these haunts and fights. When is it time to just put the pedal to the metal, or is there eventually going to have to be a point, Gods, where it's just like, it's time for plan B and we'll just split push with our Tiny, which I've seen games from the brink of defeat come back with a Wisp Tiny.
Yep.
I don't know if this is going to be that game, though.
It feels very like all in on Tiny at this point, which is unfortunate. Tiny finds an Alpha Wolf, so that's plus 106 damage. That's like a free tier 3, tier 4 damage item coming out right now with an Alpha Wolf.
Maybe that is it. Maybe it's just all in that deceptive, crazy demolition man damage that he could do to the structures. While while C9 think they win a big, 4-man stomp and then try to slow siege into the base of mid lane, he just goes up top, and the next thing you know, you just lost your racks.
Unfortunately, you can't relocate the Alpha Wolf as well.
No, certainly
you
not.
need Pit Lord for that. Does Pit Lord ultimate take? I think it takes neutrals as well. It takes player-controlled units, I think. Maybe it's just heroes. I'm not sure on that.
The future Pit Lord Chen combos. Uh-oh, mid lane. There's a stun. They're trying to get all the team in. He's able to get the Grave off in time. Brax is there with the Laguna. Annihilates the Wisp. And HFN is like, I'm just going to see if I can man up on anyone here. Good stun on the SVG, but they got... Oh, Echo not going to be happening. And, looks like
Tiny.
HFN is also going to be stranded here. Turns around, tries to man fight. They get off a snowball. Time together with the Yules. He's dead. Okay, they quickly take out 3.
Without buyback too, he just fully committed to the BKB pickup, so this is looking like potentially a lane of Rax going C9's way in the mid lane.
What was that one tipping point, though? It felt like both these teams mirrored each other well. Then things just kind of slowly started to fall down that slippery slope where Cloud9 got a lot. I know there was that accidental neutral kill for your Storm Spirit, but maybe that unsuccessful jungle jump?
Yeah, I think it was when they found... I think there was 2, which was first when they went into the jungle and found Brax and he had a haste rune and lived. That was a lot of wasted time, and the tipping point was just all of Storm's missed opportunities or wasted time. So he died once to the jungle, he failed to gank Brax multiple times, and then they failed to gank Ritsu when they went on the Spectre in the jungle with the Storm. That was another failed attempt. So it was a lot of little things adding up for the Storm, and as a result, he's currently where he is right now, 9.4k net worth. Lena's sitting on 17k net worth. So Tiny's done everything right. He farmed at all the right places, stayed on top of net worth the entire game, and Storm just took the wrong opportunities that were in front of him. It's like, okay, I feel like this is the right gank to go for. It didn't work, backfired. And that's kind of where Pain Gaming just fell behind. Sometimes those ganks work. Like if Brax doesn't have a haste rune and they get a kill there, maybe there's a role reversal and it's Storm sitting on 17k net worth now and Brax is under farm. So it was very small things that led to like very swingy kind of results.
Now you're looking at Brax with 15 frickin' charges on his Bloodstone. He's got a Hyperstone in hand plus 2,200 gold. Grossly farmed at this point. Only being outdone by that Tiny. If you look at the team Pain Gaming overall, it's very apparent the team fight potential is just not happening. You look at ADR 1 and 5, you don't want to have to see that on a Storm Spirit. Something's not going right in that case. So it's starting to feel more likely that they might have to resort to that Plan B or Plan R, Plan Rat. Got Nature's Prophet and you got a freaking Tiny.
Yeah, what more could you hope for as far as Red Dota heroes go?
And they're both really farmed for their team. The top 2 for their team, to be exact. And now you even have Tavo sporting a Shadow Blade. So trying to be as cheeky as ever.
Yeah, with that intent of Rat Dota. Spectre just so good at dealing with the Rat Dota. You just solo defend and then you've got Haunt to come to a team fight if you need to. So
yep.
We'll see how much they can get done with any potential alliance-esque plays. It does look like C9 are grouping up towards top, at least to take a tier 2 tower for now.
We'll see if they can do it here. Brax confident, pushing up the front. He's got the Aegis to show for it. Looks like it's going to be an easy tier 2, one that Pain know they can't fight for right now. But when the pressure continues to come here from the north and into the base, it's gonna. Dazzle already dishing out that nice positive weave here for his team. We'll see if Pain Gaming look to respond. They continue their split push. It looks like they got the tower.
Tiny has no TP, which is kind of problematic. Io can relocate him into a fight, but it means he only has Io with him for 10 seconds. Like, that's 10 seconds of Io time in a team fight. That may not be enough time for Tiny to do all he needs to do.
And Rich is already preparing for Tavo in the mid lane. And there's going to be the TP back now. Long jump from ADR. Gets Yulesed up immediately. Brax looking to turn around, get a good position for the LSA. Gets connection, gets the kill. We saw that many times this game. It's Snare to fly out now onto the Tiny. Ritsu commits with the Haunt. Gets all these supports very, very low. Wisp trying his best to keep everyone alive, but Brax sees the Wisp. Looks to take him out. It's going to get tossed up, but not before he does get the kill. Now it's going to be HFN. The last remaining bits of his BKB are going to be running out here as he does get chunked on down. Earthshaker committing the buyback here. Wants to come in. Still has an Echo, but can't find a good position to just make his way into the fight. Talvo's going to drop off the Sprout, but they are still moving in for HFN. They get the uppercut. There's that Echo. But it doesn't finish anyone off, and SVG is happy to just have the Song reposition. They finish off the Tiny, who's going to be out without a buyback, and this could very well be the game. Cloud9 just sweep on through the remaining members of Pain Gaming. They lose no one, and they take game number 1.
Yeah, one of the big things you really noticed in that fight is just how slow Tiny hits. The Tusk had a Shiver's Guard he just picked up, but it's not even that. It's more so the Sigil, and that's where I think, in hindsight, picking a Tiny into a Tusk is just going to be a bad idea in general. Something we didn't really bring up at all is just that attack speed slow from Sigil, later on the Shiver's Guard, really prevented Tiny from being able to fight whatsoever. Unless they got to a really good start and Aya got nice and farmed and could stay alive in a fight using the overcharge, they were never going to get a chance for Tiny to do damage. There was just too much attack speed slow, too much control coming out from Tusk. You've got the Dazzle Weave. They just negated so much of Tiny's damage output.
Cloud9 just continued to impress. They're looking really good. I was expecting a lot from Pain Gaming coming into this series. They're still showing it.
They
HFN.
have their own. They had like a 3K lead at one point in the early game. Even.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a little underwhelming, unfortunately, from ADR, maybe the position he was put in as a Storm, but we know what he could do on a Storm from what we saw yesterday, but today was not that game. 1-6. Not working out for him too much. We'll have to see if Pain Gaming can shake that game 1 off and come back in game 2 and try to take it to a game 3, but as it is right now, it's elimination point for them, or at least to get bumped down to the lower bracket. C9 now hold a lead 1-0. I'm Cuddle Guy, that's Gods. We'll be back with more NYChampionships and a qualifier action in just a few moments.